Okay, let's build an expression map for CSS in Cubase. On the violin track, we're going to go up to Expression Map and Expression Map Setup. And we don't have any yet, so we'll start a fresh one from scratch, CSS violins. In this pane here, sound slots, we're going to add each articulation that we want to capture. And I'll just use the names from the user interface, sustain, tremolo, and type each of them out. Now, for each of these articulations, we've got to mark how they're controlled. So it looks like it's going to be easier to use controller 58 than the key switches. So let's try that. It's going to be controller 58, and the first one, advanced legato, we can put a value of 8. Tremolo is controller 58 and a value of 58 according to the manual. Trills are controller 58 with a value of 48. Now, Sordinos, we can use the key switches or we can use the controller. I already know that the key switches aren't going to work very well. I've done a test, so I'm going to use the controller and then we'll take a look at how that has to work. Senza Sordino is controller 58 with a value of 93. Con Sordino is controller 58 with a value of 88. Now, for each of these articulations, we've got to mark how they're going to appear in the controller lane, and we do that under Articulation 1 by just searching for each technique. Okay, we should be good to go. So I'm going to save this out to a file in a location here, Documents, Cubase, Expression Maps. Now, on the violin track, we're going to go up to Expression Map and select the map that we've just built. We can see the articulations there. Let's open up the key editor. And we're going to add a controller lane. Select Articulations and Dynamics. And we can see our articulations here. And we've got some MIDI. It's simply a matter of selecting with the pen the articulation that we want. So let's start with tremolo. And an issue that we see here is that we have to select one articulation per note, as you would in a written score. But that's not the best workflow for our DAW, so we're going to go back to the setup. And that's the difference between direction and attribute. Attribute means an articulation per note. We want to change them all to direction. And if we go back now, when we select tremolo, it stays on tremolo. Now let's copy our MIDI a couple of times. Let's look at the issue with the muting. Let's make this passage here Con Sordino. So I'm switching the mute on here, and it's going to stay on until I switch it off, and that's going to apply to any other articulation. Let's listen to that. Sounds right. So now we can switch the mute off with Senza Sord, and then select the articulation again. all we need to do is just select the articulation that we want, and we're good to go. Okay, thanks for watching.